Many thanks for staying with us. We're still on the festive season. Now, as the public holiday entering day 2, Eid celebrations, of course, in the Federal Capital Territory for internally displaced persons at the new Kuchingoro camp has been observed to be low-key as IDPs, especially women and children, are lamenting the economic crisis as they struggle to enjoy the festivity. And they say this follows the non-provision of palliative intervention from the government or non-governmental organizations. Some women at the camp say they were breastfeeding during Ramadan prior to the Eid and have had no food, medicines, and clothing for their children. News Central's correspondent Aishat Salihu brings us more details from inside the IDP camp. Aishat, it's nice to have you around. Let's understand what the situation is at the camp.
Kuchingoro, the Federal Capital Territory, and we have spoken with the women here, mostly women, because they are the vulnerable population and also their children, and they have lamented, they have talked about the deplorable condition of living here in this particular IDP camp, rising from the Ramadan period down to the Eid festivity. They have complained and they have told us a lot about how they have to struggle, amidst the economic crisis, and they haven't had any form of help from anybody at all. I mean, the weather is still very hot, and they have also complained about, their roofing situation, where you can see behind me, they have more of tarpaulins on their roofs, on their rooftop, and they talked about how the heat is scorching. They're always very hot, and the rainy season is almost here now, and they can only wonder what would happen during the rainy season, because some of the roofing materials on their rooftop here has leakages. But then I'd love for you to hear directly from some of the women who are in this camp. I have with me Aishat Bakura. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Aishat Bakura. Now, there is a bit of a language gap here, so I'm going to ask the question and then she will answer in Hausa. Okay, she has told us what the situation is, and then she will bring us up to speed in Hausa, and then I'll also do the translation.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Aisha.
Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Ina kwanan sunana Aisha Bakura.
I'd like to hear from you. What has been the situation so far? I mean, rising from Ramadan period down to this Eid festivity. And how has it been, coping in this IDP camp with your children and all of the people here?
Gaskiya mun ji wahala a Ramadan a IDP camp. Ga zafi, ga ba abinci, ga shi nan haka muka yi azumi, mun sha wahala. Wata rana muna lallaba sana'a, amma ran da an ba mu fito ba to sai dai mu kwana mu tashi da azumi haka. Muna ta shan wahala, mun sha wahala ba kaɗan ba, mun yi Ramadan a lokacin zafin nan. Har muka zo sallah. Abinda muka samu yanzu mun dai ma yaran mu dan kayan sallah, mu yi kokarin mu rufa kan mu asiri, muka yi kayan sallah mu muka samu muka ci abinci, to shikenan mun zora yanzu ko jari ko komai ba mu da shi. Gwamnati bata san da mu ta ci mana yaya yan IDP ko ya babu. Christmas in ya wuce ma haka, to muna nufin sallah ma saboda wahalan azumi ko za su tuna da mu su mana ko dan siga ko dan gero mu sha kunu, ina muka yi azumi ko me ba abin da aka kawo mana, kamar mu ba yan abu nan bane, kawai ba a san da mu ba kwata-kwata, kamar mu ba yan Najeriya bane, ba a san da mu, muna ta shan wahala a nan, ba kaɗan muka sha wahala ba. Haka aka yi azumi har muka zo sallah, haka muka sha wahala. Mu da ya kamata a tuna da mu, gwamnati ji tausayin mu, ya tuna da mu a yanda halin da muka shiga. Magani a kemis namu babu, yaran mu suna ta zazzabi, mura, haka muna ta fama. Dan Allah ya taimaka, ko magani ma dan taimaka a kawo mana, a zuba mana a kemis. Ga kudin makarantar yara gashi haka muna ta fama, mun sha wahala azumi, yanzu za mu nemi kudin makaranta mu biya yara kudin makaranta, duk gashi nan ba kudi, jari ya kare.
Well, you have heard it from Aisha, but from what she has said, she's talking about how, rising from the Ramadan period, they had no form of help at all. I mean, in the area of medicine, they were unable to have access to medicine, even during the Ramadan. Sometimes they have just, say, kunu take, and in other times they don't even have this their food, the canoe that they feed the children with. And then in the area of medicine supplies, that is not also available. And then she also talked about school fees for the children. Aisha has been living in this camp for the past 11 years, and she sells danwake. And she did mention earlier that she had to stop the danwake business because there was no more funds to fund the business, and she is calling on the government of the day to come to their aid in this particular camp just so they alleviate their sufferings because it is too much.
Aishat, before I let you go, I'd like to just quickly find out, is the IDP camp recognized by government? Was it set up by the government? And before now, have they reached out to the government for help?
Okay, yes, this particular IDP camp in New Kuchingoro is part of the IDP camps that is recognized by the government. She did mention earlier that the Federal Emergency Management Agency relocated about 5 families from this camp to Kefi, and they made their way through to go see those families at their new location in Kefi. And I guess they are also waiting for their own turn to get relocated. There are about 45 houses in Kefi where about 5 families have been relocated from this camp to that facility. So they are also waiting for that government intervention. So as regards your question, definitely this is part of the recognized camps in the Federal Capital Territory, and they have reached out to the government, but then I guess they're still waiting to hear from the government.
So this will probably mean a case of being forgotten or probably being abandoned, and we hope that some sort of hope or help will come their way pretty soon. Thank you so much, Aishat Salihu, for giving us the updates.
Thank you, Leko.
Of course.